Hi, I'm Anaiis Salles, Patreon Sage on YouTube, and welcome to my channel. This is another very short mini tutorial on some of the dynamics that are involved in the journey of sacred union, also known by some people, they prefer to use the terminology of twin flames. And both of those things have very much to do with the journey of ascension that we're on. That is an energetic journey. It's not a religious experience, although many of us have heard the word ascension within a religious context, and that's relatively easy to explain. I won't go into it right now. What I want to do right now is go into the dynamic that's referred to quite often in videos about twin flames and videos about sacred union and card readings and all that information on YouTube, and that is the word separation. So often when you watch a reading or you watch information about twin flames, usually that's the language that's used. Not so many people use the terminology sacred union as I do, but separation is meant to imply that you're separated from your twin. Now, who is your twin? That's a really important question. And so if your twin is part of your original source-sparked pattern, design, intention, soul matrix, the only way you can become separated from yourself, which is your twin expressing as an equally balanced dynamic part of you, is if you have become separated from source, if you have become separated from self, and because of that you have become separated from the other who is your twin, but also the others who are the other people that you're engaging in everyday life. So separation, just understand that anytime anyone uses the word separation in the context of sacred union or the twin flame experience, they're talking about separation from source. Separation from source inevitably becomes separation from self. Separation from self inevitably becomes separation from others. Because when you're separated from source, your heart closes. Your heart resonance is your divine connection. So there are lots of, for the last, I've been involved with this for a long time, 30 years now. This year's 30 years, it's amazing. There are lots of other opportunities, let's call them, where you can go and take your curiosity and get information. And as you're awakening and developing yourself in your spiritual evolution, your discernment will become more refined, and your physical body will be the bell that rings when you hear or encounter the truth. But that takes a while for people to sort of get aligned with. So when you're in separation, your physical body and your subtle energy bodies and your energy system is out of alignment and cannot ring like the bell that you are. You can imagine a bell that becomes cracked or distorted or broken over time or whatever, and then that bell can't ring properly and produce a clear, pure tone. The same is true of your physical body. Our physical bodies are composed of love as light and sound being emitted on an eternal basis from source. Now, when you separate from source, you separate from that energy. And then you begin to have the experience of probably not feeling happy and content in the world, in your life, in your environment, in your circumstance. You may actually come to the place where you feel self-hatred, where you hate your body, where you don't want to look at yourself in the mirror. and yet you don't have the energy to pursue with joyful, playful creativity a healthier lifestyle. And that's all about being in separation from source. And I'll go into that in another short video. But let's talk about what kinds of separation manifests a separation from source. Once we go into separation from source, our DNA is affected, our emotional body is affected, our feelings and how we feel about ourselves and other people. And we take on ideas, beliefs, and traditions that are limited, that are based in fear, that are based in how it's always been done this way. And how it's always been done this way is usually a matter of 1 or 2 generations. So whenever you're getting the message, this is how we do it, this is how it's done, and you recognize that there is a system in place that you have not been able to contribute to. In other words, you've been handed a rule book that you did not help to write. That is being separated from source. Okay? Very simple. So when we're separated from source and we're in pain, because that's the signal, that's source's ability to get our attention and to turn us inward and to come into our heart and begin to explore what is our relationship to love. Okay, so those are the basic things. So when you're on a twin flame journey and you're in sacred union journey, you will hear information about DNA activation. You will hear information about a purging. I don't like that word, purging your emotions. I'll talk more about that later. You'll hear language about getting rid of your conditioning, but do they tell you how? And do they tell you why? And do they explain how you got that conditioning? Now, some people do. Primarily, once we've gone into a DNA distortion, emotional distortion, and skewed perception through ideas, beliefs, and traditions that we are told, this is the way it is, this is how it's always been done, then we are solidly encased. And I do mean encased, as if you were encased in a hard metal, not transparent container that holds you in a sense of duality, that continues feeding you signals, electromagnetic signals. This is right, this is wrong, this is right, this is wrong, this is black, this is white, this is, on and on and on and on. So duality, you become encased in a system of separation that continually pushes emotions, ideas, beliefs, and traditions to support separation from source, which is all about duality, because with source alignment, right, wrong is none of our business. It really isn't. It's about truth and intention and action and integrity. And when we're covering those bases, we really don't have to concern ourselves with right, wrong. Right, wrong is source's job. And we have a guidance system within us. And when we lose our way and go into separation, our guidance system malfunctions. And then we can come away like, I'm lost, I don't know who I am, all of that stuff. Lastly, when we're in separation, we now today have to look at the story of technology and how technology is being used to absolutely bolster. It's like the bedrock of duality now. And I will talk to you more about that another day. But for now, I just wanted to talk to you about separation from source. You are living inside a system of separation that has been designed to keep you and me and every one of us in separation from source. And so at this point, I'm hoping I'm going to leave you with a question, which is, why would that be? Great question. Thanks for watching. See you again soon, and do check out my card readings. And I do have an upcoming class online which is about what happens when you are able to move yourself out of the dynamic of separation, out of duality, right, wrong. And I actually do use technology so that I can meet with you online and help you move through these dynamics so that you can be awake and aware and truly responsive to your sacred union journey or your twin flame journey, and understand, really understand at a very basic level what you're experiencing, and make choices about where you want to be within that experience. So I'll talk to you more about this, but if you're interested in studying with me, I'd love to have you. I'm getting lots of beautiful questions now. And one recent question that I got was talking about activated strands of DNA and how our lives change and who we become when our DNA is activated, and what we can decide that we want to devote, how much time and energy and attention to opening up to the process of DNA activation. And I will share that that's a very fluid process right now, and there's so much beautiful energy moving into the 3D domain, three-dimensional domain. We have first dimension, second dimension, and we experience ourselves physically in the third dimension. But that's all, that whole deck is being reshuffled right now. And Sacred Union and also the Twin Flame Journey is part of that deck being reshuffled. So I will include information on how you can join in on this online class, which will begin in October. And it's a course that we meet once a week for 6 weeks, so it'll get you finished up in time for you to begin to think about what you want to intentionally co-create for you in your soulful evolution in 2020. And it's going to be a big year for all of us, and we need to be making really conscious choices about who we are, why we are, how we are, wherever we are.